Welcome to a video on speaking fluently. When you want to master a language, the ability to speak fluently is very important, and I'll tell you some points about it in today's video. This is Sumita Roy's English classroom, where you have more than 100 videos now. All of them will help you in becoming fluent if you practice like I tell you in each video. Because practice is the most important point in becoming fluent. Before I continue, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it, to watch the videos completely if you really want full benefit. I have 45 years of teaching experience as a professor in the university, and I can tell you how important it is to grasp all the points and keep them in mind. Like and share the videos and comment, because most of these videos which I'm making are based on your suggestions in the comment boxes. As far as possible, your comments are being answered regularly. So let us continue now with the topic which I wanted to mention, and that is how to speak fluently. Mastering a language requires fluency. Practice is, as I told you, the most important point. How will you practice? That is a question all of you will ask me immediately. I say practice. In every one of the videos, I'm telling you how to practice. For the beginners, practice is you learn nouns and verbs. There are beginners' drills in nouns and verbs. There are lessons in grammar in nouns and verbs. Try to identify the objects around you. Try to identify what actions you and others take. And when you do this, you get a good vocabulary. Once you have this good vocabulary, it will help you to practice. I'm also giving you videos where there are simple sentences. Many of you want to learn a high level vocabulary. For that also there are videos. So your fluency exercise begins with strengthening your language. Strengthening your language takes a little time and a lot of hard work. It is not like a simple tablet which I can prescribe by saying, please take this tablet twice a day and within a week you will have fluency. It is not possible. Unless you listen actively, you cannot become fluent, because language is learnt when we imitate a good model. I have made a video for you on active listening. I hope all of you are watching that video on active listening, because that helps you in your fluency. Unless we listen properly, we cannot become fluent. So as far as possible, listen as long as you can. Make a timetable for yourself for every day and keep the amount of time you can spare for listening, reading, speaking and writing. These 4 skills you can do. Now leave writing aside because we are talking about speaking today. So keep some time for listening. Keep some time for reading aloud. It helps you greatly to speak fluently if you constantly read aloud. Every morning when you're reading your newspaper, in case you read it aloud, it will benefit your fluency hugely. You will get a lot of benefit in your fluency if you are in the habit of reading everything aloud. When you are traveling by bus on the road, there are so many English advertisements. You can read them aloud. Not very loudly, maybe people will get disturbed. Somebody has mentioned that, in between the videos which I'm uploading, there are many advertisements and that is disturbing. I don't think that is disturbing. There also is a language. It might be your own language or it might be English. If it is some other language, translate whatever you have heard in the advertisement and practice to speak. You will become fluent because every time you see the same advertisement, when you see it 10 times, you can easily remember and you can repeat. If it's the advertisement is in English, wonderful, you have ready-made practice. Don't feel that the advertisements are a waste of time. You get the advertisements in order to break the monotony of the lecture. When I'm talking to you, my voice becomes, similar in tone, and that you feel is very boring. Therefore, the advertisement gives you a change, and then after finishing that advertisement, you come back here. So nothing is a waste. Please remember that nothing gets wasted. To speak fluently, you need a lot of patience. You have to be very patient with yourself, and you have to be very patient in the manner in which you learn. Please do not try to learn in 1 day or 1 minute. Those are false promises which, if we as teachers make those promises, then it doesn't help at all. I can tell you from my very long experience that people have learned quickly, but it depends on the number of hours which they could devote. Quickness is not shortcut. Please do not take any shortcuts because then your English will remain faulty throughout your life. You will speak fluently, but you will never speak correctly because fluency should go with correctness. I have made videos on fluency and correctness both. Accuracy, spontaneity, many of these videos are available. You can watch those videos a couple of times, note down whatever points are there, and then improve your fluency. Now, when I talk to you, I don't prepare a script to talk to you. The thoughts are in my mind. I collect the thoughts and keep it in a well-disciplined packet. I say, okay, for this video, these are the points I need to mention. Then, as I'm thinking, the words come out. That is important in fluency. Your fluency suffers if there is a time gap between your thought and your word. That time gap is not good. You need to bridge that time gap. And how you can do it is only when you are patient with yourself. You say, oh, I cannot learn English because I tried and I failed. I have got some people, calling me or commenting or sending messages saying that we have been trying for 2 years. We haven't got any fluency. Then I had to tell them that earlier, whatever videos you have seen of me on YouTube, those are very general videos. It is because of those viewers' requests that I started a channel for teaching it in the process it should be taught. To give a 1-hour lecture in a college or in an auditorium is easy. Just 2 days back, I was giving a lecture in a college. There was 1 hour time. And I had to tell them how to speak confidently and effectively. Then after speaking to them a few points only, I told them that there are videos already on both these topics. Confidently, effectively. Please watch them 2-3 times, then practice as I told you. So what should you do when the question comes, when you want to practice, how should you practice? I have already told you, for beginners, there are so many simple sentences in videos which I have uploaded. You repeat those sentences 10 times each, you get fluent. Because fluency comes when you start believing in yourself. Yes, I can speak English. If we start with a negative, we never get to learn, we never get fluency. So you have to tell yourself every morning that I can speak fluently. I must speak fluently. And then you have to go forward. You have to move yourself, challenging yourself to a higher level. You say, I will move ahead. I will move ahead. In this way, you will learn excellent English. Many of you want English for a particular purpose. You have exams where there is an oral test. The oral test is speaking fluently. You want training for that. All these videos are training for that. Just learning for a particular exam is self-defeating. That means you are cheating yourself. Because if you learn for an exam, once the exam is over, your English disappears from your mind. And that is terrible. You learn only for a short period. Today you learn, next week is the exam, following week you have forgotten everything. That is what happens when we are going through these shortcuts. So don't take those shortcut methods. What you need to do to become fluent is you need to practice at the level at which you are. For practice, the two important things which you require are grammar and vocabulary. Pronunciation comes slightly later, but to begin your fluency exercise, please check whether you have done your grammar properly, whether you know the rules which are to be used. Many of you are writing in the comment box, we listen your videos. Now, meaning is clear. We listen your videos. You can say we watch your videos. Perfect English. But when you say we listen your videos, there is a mistake. You have to say we listen to your videos. To is missing, which is a preposition. I have given you an entire video on preposition as other grammar items also. So if you look at each video, you note down the rules, you get better. Now, why do we say we get into a bus and we we travel by car or we travel in a car, etc. So we get into or we get onto a flight or a train, etc. So why are we using so many different varieties for travel? We say, I go to the market by walk. I'm using preposition by. Then you say, I went on foot. Same, it is walking. But you are saying on foot and you are saying by walk. These are very simple phrases which you need to remember. You can say, I'm not comfortable speaking English. Now, not comfortable speaking English, this is a phrase you can use. Or you can say, I don't know English very well. If you have such a series of standard phrases, I have given you in the video of phrases and clauses, I started by giving you some common phrases which we use. I will make videos on travel phrases, etc. and different occasions phrases. But that will take a little time. Now what you need to do is, you need to begin. You say that, looking out of the window, I saw a beautiful bird. So looking out of the window, this is a phrase which you can use very often. Looking out of the train window, we saw the green fields. You can also say, looking out of the office, I saw that many people were rushing somewhere. Looking out of the door, I find that there was a fire outside. There are so many sentences you can use when you have an idea as to what is the word you need to use, what is the structure you need to use. Very often, phrases have non-finite verbs. I have an entire video on non-finite verbs which you might have seen. The next point is vocabulary. Now, if you use, this person is liked by everybody. Now, instead of saying this person is liked by everybody, you say this person is popular. Now, the word liked by everybody, you are using so many words. Instead, what you need is a single simple word, popular. You say that this monument is well known to people all over the world. Instead of saying so much, you say, this monument is globally famous. What did you do? You put all over the world, you put globally. Very well known, you put famous. So what did you do? You brought your language to a better, higher level. This is what fluency is. You start with a basic level, but don't aim to remain at that basic level. Unless you do this exercise, you cannot benefit. Recently, you have a video where I have told you that instead of saying eat, you can say nibble, or you can say suck, or you can say chew, or you can say gobble. Now, all these words mean eat, but each of them has a different meaning from eat, which is a simple, straightforward word to take some food and to put it in your mouth. That's it. But the way in which you're doing it gives you so many words. Vocabulary is a very rich area which you need to know to make yourself fluent. Unless you do that, your fluency suffers. And then, of course, we have pronunciation. Pronunciation is difficult because most of us might have learnt to write English before we learnt to speak English. Am I right? All of you can write. Many of you are saying, we can understand, we can write good English, but we cannot speak. I remember some people from the court of law, because the lawyers have to speak all the time. They say that we can draft beautifully legal documents. Drafting is to write formally. But when it comes to speaking in court, we feel we do not have fluency. You prepare a wonderful report. In the meeting, your boss tells you that you have to make a presentation on the report you made. While writing, you wrote it so clearly and so well. But while speaking, you do not have fluency. So fluency very often stops us from being successful. If you are not fluent, you are not comfortable. If you are not fluent, you are not confident that you can speak the language. So fluency is something which you need to acquire. And the faster you acquire, the better it is. That is why one of the qualities of fluency is your pronunciation. Remember that when I'm making these videos, I'm stressing on particular points. I'm not speaking at the same speed throughout. You might notice. Now, what this means is making use of language in order to interest the audience. If you are really interested in fluency, then you will hear each word and try to understand each word, so that tomorrow these words will come to you when you want to speak. these sentences will come to you when you want to speak, or these phrases and these expressions. But they might come to you in the form of the spelling, which we often do while reading, and you don't know the pronunciation. Very often it happens that pronunciation mistakes are made. And if you make a pronunciation mistake, your language is understood. People who know the pronunciation mistake will understand your language, but they will also think in their minds or tell you that your English is very bad. It is very poor. Your English is not good because your pronunciation is impossible to understand. Very often, speech training is given to actors, people who want to act in movies, on television or theatre. They are given speech training. Why do you think they need speech training? That is because of their pronunciation. They need to have the right pronunciation, because the way we pronounce shows the meaning which we are trying to communicate. When you pronounce a word with more emphasis, that means it's an important word. If you pronounce the word quickly with a short stress, that means that that word is not so important. Unless you do this with your language, your fluency is not worth anything. It is not enough for you if you learn the sounds of English. Sounds are very important because our mother tongue sounds, whatever your mother tongue is, are different from the sounds of English. Every language has a different sound system. Most of the Indian languages come from Sanskrit, so we have a similar sound system. But still there are so many differences. In English, which we are learning of a different culture, of a different root, many root languages go to form the English of today. We need to learn pronunciation. This is called connected speech. It is not enough to know only words, but we need to learn connected speech. For fluency, our ability to use connected speech is most important. I remember a comment has come saying that I should explain the speech sounds with all the positioning of the mouth. Now, this is not required for you. Please understand that when you make such a comment, that is only for the future teachers of English at a very advanced level. It is not for you. It is not for a person who wants to acquire fluent English, because how you pronounce the word theoretically is not what you require. The theory is unnecessary for you. What is required for your fluency is practice. And therefore, for pronunciation practice, always shadowing is the method. Shadowing is imitation. You follow a pattern of pronunciation and then you learn well. Suppose you are in a particular geographic region, you will get a slightly different variety of English. There are many countries where the mother tongue is English, but each of them has a different pattern of connected speech. They have a different pattern of pronunciation. They are very close to each other, but they are not exactly the same. So this difference we need to learn. There are many countries where education is in English, so the mother tongue is not English, but many of the people know some English. There you have different varieties of English. Especially those countries which were ruled by the British, They have a lot of English. And therefore, we need to remember that all these varieties of English are available for our practice. You learn the variety to which you are exposed today. Whatever you're hearing today, you learn. Changing it and learning a new accent should not be difficult if you know the standard English. One standard English of a particular place you need to learn. If you have a mother tongue influence on your English, your connected speech is like the tone of your mother tongue. Your pronunciation does not, your intonation especially, does not follow the pattern of English speech, then you need to change. Because without it, you will never be fluent. For fluency, you require that which makes people understand you. We are not speaking fluent English because we want to be happy that we are speaking. We are speaking fluent English for the other person or the group of people who have to listen to us. Whenever we speak, please remember we never speak for ourselves. So first we train ourselves to speak fluently, then we communicate with others where you find that the other person is impressed by your fluency because your thoughts come clearly when you are fluent. And the thoughts are structured well. You have a good discipline of speaking. And your meaning is completely communicated. See how many advantages are there of speaking fluently? Unless you practice, as I told you at the beginning of the video, you don't get fluent. So begin your practice. Remember that the more you practice following, listening, checking your grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, reading aloud, all these when you do, you develop fluency every day. Please remember, I'm repeating this. You have 365 days in 2025, but you can improve every day. So today, if you start improving, after 365 days, you would have improved 365 times. Today, what is your English? You multiply it by 365, that will be the level of your English at the end of the year. If you are really sincere, if you're really serious about your pronunciation, about your practice. In this, pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, all are equally important. You need to practice one aspect per day if you find all cannot be practiced together. Do it slowly, do it patiently, and do it regularly. That is most important. Because if you do it intermittently, intermittent might be a new word, intermittent. Intermittently would mean that you do today, you leave 4 days, then you do again, then you leave 2 days, then you do it again. You take some break, you have some intervals. So that is intermittently. So if you do it intermittently, it doesn't help you. However long you do, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it does not help you. Do it regularly, at least for a month, you will find great improvement. At least for 10, 15, 20 days, 3 weeks, you will find great improvement. But do it with breaks for a long, long time, no improvement comes. That is to put you within this groove. I'm preparing videos every day so that you get practice every day. But that is only if you watch. So I wish you all the best and hope that you learn as quickly as possible and become as fluent as possible. All the best.